Beneath the salt-sprayed soil of a small, kidney-shaped island off the coast of Nova Scotia lies a secret that has defied the world's greatest engineers, treasure hunters, and even a future American president for over 225 years. It is a place where geometry meets geology and where the ancient symbols of the Freemasons are etched into the very bedrock of the New World. They call it the Money Pit, but for those who know the history of the square and the compass, it is something much more profound. It is the ultimate Masonic vault. This is the story of Oak Island, a mystery wrapped in a curse, buried in a hole, and guarded by the ghost of the Knights Templar. The Discovery, Lights in the Dark, 1795. The legend began not with a map, but with a flicker of light. In the summer of 1795, a young man named Daniel McGinnis was rowing across the Mahone Bay when he noticed strange pulsing lights emanating from the uninhabited Oak Island. In an era before electricity, such a sight was either a miracle or a warning. Returning the next day, McGinnis found a peculiar clearing on the island's eastern end. In the center stood an ancient, massive oak tree with a sawed-off limb that bore the scars of a tackle and block. Directly beneath that limb was a circular depression in the ground, about 13 feet in diameter. To McGinnis, a child of the late 18th century, this was the universal sign for buried pirate gold. He returned with two friends, John Smith and Anthony Vaughan. They began to dig, expecting to find a chest of Spanish doubloons just a few feet down, but what they found instead was an engineering marvel that suggested the pirates had degrees in civil engineering. At 10 feet, they hit a layer of solid oak logs embedded into the side of the pit. At 20 feet, another layer of oak. At 30 feet, yet another. The boys realized this wasn't just a hole, it was a shaft. They reached 30 feet before the sheer scale of the task forced them to stop. They went home, but the obsession had been planted. It would take another generation and the birth of a formal company, the Onslow Company, to push deeper into the abyss. The 90-foot stone and the booby-trap. In 1804, the Onslow Company reached the 90-foot mark. Every 10 feet, they had encountered layers of charcoal, putty, and coconut fiber. The presence of coconut fiber was the first major clue that this was no ordinary burial. Coconuts are not native to Canada. Someone had brought materials from thousands of miles away to seal this pit. Then they hit the 90-foot stone. It was a large rectangular basalt rock inscribed with strange cryptic symbols, circles, squares, and angles that looked remarkably like a coded Masonic cipher. According to later translations, the stone read, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds lie buried. But as the hunters reached for the prize, the island struck back. When the crew returned the next morning, the shaft was filled with 60 feet of seawater. They tried to pump it out, but the water level wouldn't budge. They realized with horror that they hadn't just hit a leak, they had tripped a booby trap. Later exploration revealed a sophisticated finger drain system at nearby Smith's Cove. The builders had excavated 5 massive stone channels shaped like a hand, covered them with rocks and coconut fiber to act as a filter, and connected them to a main tunnel that led straight to the money pit. The weight of the Atlantic itself was the guardian of the treasure. Whenever anyone dug deep enough, the pressure of the Atlantic would flood the shaft, keeping the secret submerged. The Masonic connection, the Royal Arch. As the decades passed and more companies failed, researchers began to look beyond pirates like Captain Kidd. The complexity of the flood tunnels suggested a level of architectural knowledge far beyond a band of outlaws. The focus shifted to the Freemasons. For the uninitiated, Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that traces its roots to the medieval stonemasons who built Europe's cathedrals. They are obsessed with geometry, architecture, and the preservation of ancient light or knowledge. One of the most sacred rituals in Masonry is the legend of the Royal Arch. According to Masonic lore, during the rebuilding of Solomon's Temple, 3 travelers discovered an ancient subterranean vault. To reach the secret knowledge hidden within, they had to descend through a series of 9 arched layers. Sound familiar? On Oak Island, the layers of wood appeared every 10 feet. If the treasure was at the 90-foot mark, that would mean there were exactly 9 layers of wood. To a master mason, the money pit isn't just a hole, it is a physical recreation of the secret vault of Enoch. The American interest, FDR and the summer of 1909. The Oak Island mystery isn't just a Canadian curiosity, it is woven into the fabric of American history. In 1909, a young, ambitious lawyer from New York joined the Old Gold Salvage and Wreckage Company. His name was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Long before he was the 32nd President of the United States, FDR was a Freemason, initially joined Holland Lodge No. 8, and an avid history buff. He spent several weeks on the island, getting his boots muddy and helping to operate the machinery. Even as he rose to the presidency, FDR kept a file on Oak Island in the Oval Office. He believed that the island held something far more valuable than gold, perhaps the missing crown jewels of France, or more controversially, the original manuscripts of William Shakespeare, which some believe contain the secrets of the Enlightenment. FDR's involvement highlights a key theme: the great work of the Masons. Many of America's founding fathers, Washington, Franklin, Hancock, were high-ranking Masons. Some theorists suggest that Oak Island was a safe deposit box for the treasures of the Knights Templar, moved from Europe to the New World to fund a new Atlantis, the United States of America. The curse: 7 must die. Every great mystery requires a price. On Oak Island, the price is blood. A local legend states that the treasure will only be found when 7 people have died in pursuit of it. To date, the toll stands at 6. 1. 1861, a pump boiler exploded, scalding a worker to death. 2. 1897, Maynard Kaiser fell to his death when a rope snapped. 3. 1965, the Restall tragedy. 4 men, Robert Restall, his son, and 2 co-workers, were overcome by hydrogen sulfide fumes at the bottom of a shaft. The 7th person looms over the modern hunt like a shadow. The modern era, the Lagina brothers. Today, the hunt is led by Rick and Marty Lagina, 2 brothers from Michigan who purchased the majority of the island in 2006. Using 21st century technology, sonic drilling, LiDAR, and deep-sea divers, they have turned the island into the world's most famous archaeological site. They have found things that shouldn't be there. A medieval lead cross found in Smith's Cove, dated to the 1300s, which matches carvings found in Templar prisons in France. Human bones found at a depth of 160 feet belonging to individuals of Middle Eastern and European descent. High traces of silver and gold in the water samples taken from the C1 borehole. As they go deeper, the more the Masonic theory holds weight. They discovered a stone triangle on the island that points directly towards the money pit, a classic Masonic navigational tool. The philosophical treasure. What is actually down there? Is it the Ark of the Covenant, as some Templar enthusiasts suggest? Is it the lost gold of the Spanish Empire? Or is it something else? Many historians now believe the treasure of Oak Island is the island itself. It stands as a monument to human ingenuity and a secret society's desire to protect something sacred from a changing world. The Masons, who believed in building a better man, may have built the ultimate test of faith and persistence. As the Lagina brothers continue to drill into the garden shaft and explore the hatch, the world watches. The American audience in particular remains captivated because Oak Island represents the ultimate frontier, a mystery that can't be Googled, a riddle that requires sweat, blood, and a deep respect for the symbols of the past. The story of Oak Island is not finished, the seventh has not yet fallen, and the vault has not yet yielded its final secret. But as long as there are those willing to look at a square and a compass and wonder what if, the mystery of the Money Pit will remain the greatest historical detective story in the Western Hemisphere. While the Money Pit remains the most famous hole on the planet, the true secret of Oak Island might not be in the pit at all, but rather hidden in the very geometry of the island itself. To the Freemasons, a physical structure is often just a shadow of a mathematical truth. If you look at Oak Island from the air, you begin to see a blueprint that looks less like a pirate's hideout.
If you look at Oak Island from the air, you begin to see a blueprint that looks less like a pirate's hideout and more like a cathedral of the wilderness. The sacred geometry, Nolan's Cross. In 1981, a surveyor and treasure hunter named Fred Nolan discovered something that changed the narrative of the island forever. Scattered across the island's landscape were 6 massive boulders, each weighing several tons. When Nolan mapped their positions, he realized they weren't random. They formed a perfect 867-foot-long Christian cross. But this wasn't just any cross. The proportions and the placement of a headstone and a heartstone aligned perfectly with Masonic Tree of Life symbols. Furthermore, the cross points directly toward the Money Pit. Researchers have noted that the angles used in Nolan's Cross are identical to those found in the Versailles Gardens and the Roslin Chapel in Scotland, a site famously linked to the Knights Templar and early Freemasonry. This discovery shifted the search. It suggested that the entire island was a massive landscaped monument. The treasure might be a vaulted chamber located at the precise geometric center of this cross, hidden deep beneath the swamp. The mystery of the swamp, the paved wharf. For years, the triangular swamp on Oak Island was dismissed as a natural feature. However, recent excavations by the Legina team have revealed that the swamp is almost certainly man-made. Beneath the muck lies a massive stone wharf and a paved road made of boulders that would have been used to offload heavy cargo, perhaps the very chests now buried in the Money Pit. In 2024 and early 2025, carbon dating of wood found beneath this stone road returned dates between 1200 AD and 1600 AD. This predates the discovery of the Money Pit by centuries. If someone was building a heavy-duty industrial wharf in Nova Scotia in the 1300s, it wasn't pirates. It was an organized, well-funded, and highly disciplined group. The lead cross and the Templar link. The most tangible piece of evidence connecting the island to the medieval world is the lead cross. Found by metal detectorist Gary Drayton in the Smith's Cove area, this small, crude cross has a square hole at the top. Initial testing at the University of New Brunswick used laser ablation to trace the lead's chemical signature. The results were shocking. The lead did not come from North America. It came from a specific mine in southern France that was active during the time of the Knights Templar. Even more intriguing, the design of the cross is identical to carvings found on the walls of the Dôme prison in France, where Knights Templar were held and executed in 1307. This suggests that the secret of Oak Island may have been brought to the New World by the survivors of the Templar Order, the very men who would eventually evolve into the modern Freemasons. 2025, the Muon Tomography breakthrough. As we move through 2025, the hunt has gone space age. The team has employed Muon Tomography, a technology that uses subatomic particles from outer space to X-ray the Earth. By placing detectors deep in boreholes, scientists can map density changes in the rock. The latest Muon data has identified a massive anomaly, often called the blob, located near the Money Pit but offset by several yards. This high-density area is roughly the size of a shipping container and appears to be made of non-natural material. the excitement is at an all-time high. Is the blob the legendary vault of the Masons? Is it the Ark of the Covenant, or perhaps the lost gold of the French crown, hidden there during the French Revolution to keep it out of the hands of the mob? The philosophical treasure, the final truth. As the drills grind deeper and the mystery of the seventh person continues to haunt the crews, we must ask, what if the treasure isn't gold? Many high-ranking Masons believe that Oak Island was intended to be a new Zion. In the Masonic tradition, the search for that which was lost is a central theme. This refers to the lost knowledge of the ancient world. If the island contains the original library of the Templars or the secret scrolls of the early church, it would be a treasure far more valuable than any mountain of gold. For the American audience, Oak Island is a reflection of the American spirit, the refusal to give up, the belief that something incredible is hidden just beneath the surface, and the respect for the great work started by those who came before us. The conclusion, the end of the tunnel. Oak Island is a place where history, myth, and science collide. It is a 225-year-old chess match between a brilliant designer and anyone brave enough to pick up a shovel. Whether the Legina brothers finally break into the vault in 2026 or the island claims another victim, the legacy of the Masonic treasure is secure. It reminds us that there are still secrets in this world that cannot be solved with a quick search engine query. Some secrets require a lifetime of dedication. As the sun sets over Mahone Bay, the shadows of the oaks stretch across the island, pointing toward the ground, whispering a secret that has been kept for 7 centuries. The treasure is there. It's just waiting for the right person to find it. The hunt for the Oak Island treasure has always been a race against 2 things, the Atlantic Ocean and the limits of human technology. But as we move deeper into the final months of 2025, the search has shifted from where is the treasure to a much more profound question. Who were the masters behind this machine? The garden shaft, the final gateway. In the last 2 years, the focus of the Legina brothers has narrowed down to a single high-stakes location, the garden shaft. Originally thought to be a simple search pit from the 1800s, modern excavation has revealed that it sits directly on top of a massive tunnel system. In late 2024, the team utilized a freeze ring technology, pumping supercooled brine into the ground to freeze the earth solid, finally defeating the flood tunnels that had thwarted searchers for 2 centuries. As they descended, the water samples taken from the bottom of the shaft were sent to a specialized lab in Utah. The results were the most definitive evidence of treasure in the island's history. The water contained high concentrations of gold, silver, and zinc, specifically in a state that suggests they are coming from a large, decomposing metallic mass nearby. This isn't just background gold, it is a signature of high-purity bullion. The seventh death and the mercy of the island. For decades, the curse of Oak Island, the legend that 7 must die before the treasure is found, has been the dark cloud over the Mahone Bay. With 6 lives already claimed, the 7th remains a chilling requirement. However, in early 2025, a different perspective emerged among the island's historians. Some suggest that the death required by the curse may not be literal. In Masonic ritual, a candidate must undergo a symbolic death and rebirth to attain higher knowledge. The 7th death may represent the death of the searcher's ego, the moment when the hunters stop looking for gold and start looking for the truth. This aligns with the discovery of the hatch, a mysterious stone feature found in the woods that bears the marks of the Royal Arch masonry. It's a heavy stone lid that, when lifted, revealed a narrow stone-lined ventilation shaft. It wasn't designed for a pirate's chest, it was designed for a vault meant to be occupied by people. The Templar Masonic Blueprint. The stunning realization of the 2025 season came when researchers compared the map of Oak Island to the constellation of Cygnus, as in the Swan, also known as the Northern Cross. In medieval Templar philosophy, Cygnus was the gateway to the divine. When the points of Nolan's cross are overlaid with the stars of Cygnus, the headstone of the cross aligns perfectly with the star Deneb. But there was a missing star in the constellation, a dark point. When the team projected that dark point onto the island, it landed exactly in the swamp. This led to the Big Dig in the swamp, where they discovered a massive wooden structure dated to the 1200s. It wasn't a ship, and it wasn't a wharf. It was a foundation. This suggests that the swamp was once a dry basin where a massive building, perhaps a hidden command center for the Templar fleet, once stood before the island was intentionally flooded to hide the evidence.
The final reveal, the Vault of the Ages. As the calendar turns toward 2026, the world is watching the blob detected by Muon Tomography. The data suggests a void approximately 150 feet underground, shielded by a layer of non-porous blue clay and lined with thick oak beams. If the Masonic theory holds, what lies within is not just gold bars. It is the lost word of the Masons, perhaps the original scrolls of the Hebrew Temple or the secret history of the bloodline of the Grail. The story of Oak Island is the story of America's hidden origins. It is the story of how the secrets of the Old World were brought to the New World to be protected by a brotherhood that used the earth itself as their safe. The legacy of the hunt. The Lagina brothers, now in the twilight of their search, have achieved something greater than wealth. They have resurrected a history that was nearly erased. They have proven that 225 years ago, 3 boys found a hole that was meant to be found, not to make them rich, but to start a journey that would eventually connect a small Canadian island to the Crusades, the Enlightenment, and the founding of the United States. The treasure of Oak Island is the mystery itself. It is the persistent, burning desire of the human spirit to uncover the truth, no matter how deep it is buried, no matter how many flood tunnels stand in the way. As the drills reach the 150-foot mark in the garden shaft, the air is thick with anticipation. The 7th person has not died, but the island is finally yielding. The vault is close, the symbols are aligning, and after 7 centuries of silence, the wow of the money pit is about to be heard around the world. The secret is no longer safe. The truth is coming to the surface. The air around the garden shaft was electric, thick with the scent of salt spray and the hum of industrial generators. For over 2 centuries, Oak Island had taken everything: money, health, and lives. But in these final hours of December 2025, it seemed ready to finally give something back. The blob, that dense anomaly detected by cosmic ray muons, was no longer just a ghost on a computer screen. It was a destination. The breakthrough, piercing the vault. As the massive oscillating drill bit ground through the final layer of non-porous blue clay at 162 feet, the resistance suddenly vanished. The drill dropped 6 inches into a void. A silence fell over the site, broken only by the lapping of the Atlantic against the shore. The Lagina brothers didn't rush. They followed the Sydney protocols established for archaeological integrity. A high-definition fiber-optic camera was lowered into the borehole. As the lens cleared the mud and water, the monitors in the command center flickered to life, revealing a site that had not been seen by human eyes since the medieval era. It wasn't a room filled with loose gold coins as the pirates had promised. Instead, the camera revealed a meticulously constructed stone and timber chamber. Stacked against the walls were several lead-lined chests, their surfaces encrusted with minerals, but their structural integrity intact. But the most shocking discovery wasn't the metal. It was a large stone sarcophagus-like structure in the center, etched with the double-headed eagle of the Scottish Rite. The paper gold, the library of the ages. In early 2026, the first of the smaller chests was carefully brought to the surface and opened in a controlled atmosphere laboratory. Inside, protected by layers of processed animal hide and mercury-treated silk, were parchment manuscripts.
These weren't just any papers. Preliminary analysis suggested they were the missing pieces of the Enlightenment puzzle. For centuries, theorists had argued that the works of William Shakespeare were actually a coded blueprint for a new world, authored by a group led by Sir Francis Bacon, the father of the scientific method and a high-ranking Rosicrucian. The manuscripts found on Oak Island appeared to be original drafts, alongside documents that detailed the transfer of Templar knowledge to the New World. This was the secret treasure the Masons had died to protect. Not just wealth, but a radical vision of a society built on reason, liberty, and the pursuit of knowledge. It was the intellectual DNA of the United States, hidden away until the new Atlantis was strong enough to stand on its own. The curse is broken, the seventh sacrifice. As the team prepared to enter the vault physically, many whispered about the seventh death. The tension was palpable. Would the island demand one final life before revealing the sarcophagus? Rick Lagina, who had dedicated nearly 2 decades to this pursuit, made a poignant observation. He pointed to the heartstone of Nolan's cross. He said, "The curse said 7 must die before the treasure is found. But maybe the treasure isn't the gold. Maybe the treasure is the mystery itself. And maybe the 7th death was the death of the mystery." In a sense, the search itself was the ritual. Each generation of searchers, from Daniel McGinnis to FDR to the Restles, had acted as Masons, building the story piece by piece until the Temple of Oak Island was complete. By finding the vault, the mystery died, fulfilling the prophecy without a drop of blood. The global impact, redefining history. The discovery on Oak Island has fundamentally rewritten the history books of North America. We now know that, pre-Columbian contact, the Templars were navigating to Nova Scotia as early as the 1300s using advanced navigational tools that would later be passed down through Masonic lodges. The American connection. The Founding Fathers weren't just building a country, they were completing a project that had been gestating in secret vaults like Oak Island for centuries. Masonic engineering. The money pit was not a treasure chest, but a time capsule, designed to preserve the wisdom of the ages against the fires of religious and political persecution in Europe. The final reflection. A legacy in stone. Today, Oak Island is no longer a site of frantic digging. It has become a protected World Heritage Site, a place of pilgrimage for those who value the deep, hidden currents of history. The money pit is now capped with a transparent structure, allowing visitors to look down into the depths of the shaft that once defied the world. The Lagina brothers, having finished the great work, have left a legacy that transcends wealth. They proved that the stories were true, that there was a secret, that it was Masonic, and that it was worth every ounce of effort. The secret of Oak Island is finally out, and the world will never look at a kidney-shaped island in the Atlantic the same way again. Thanks for watching.